In the last example, we have sorted this array in ascending order, right? So what we have done is we have added four elements, which is 4, 2, 8, and 20, and then we have sorted that collection or array or list, and then we are printing all the values, right? So let's say if I say run as application, so you can see we are getting those values in ascending order. But what I want now is instead of printing those values in ascending order, I want to print those values in descending order. Now, if you want to change the default execution of your collections.sort, we need to provide one more parameter. Now, what that one parameter is, it's your object of comparator class interface. So when you just expand this, let's say if I expand this sort method, so we have two sort. One is one with list and second with list and the comparator object. So when you want to sort an element with your own logic, you have to use the second one, which is sort the list, which is collection, and you have to provide the object of comparator. Now, in order to provide the object of comparator, the problem is comparator is an interface, right? So we cannot create object of interface directly. So what we need here is we need to create a class. That class will implement comparator, and then when you create object of that class, you will get object of comparator, right? So what I mean by that is, let's say we have a class here, and we'll name this class as sorted, or we'll say sort numbers. Now this class need to implement, so we'll say need to implements, we'll say comparator, so it is comparator. Now the type of elements we have in this is integer. Okay, and let's import the package, so we can simply press Ctrl Shift O. Now, so if we talk about this interface comparator, it has only one method, and that method is your compare. So what we can do is we can simply say public. Now that compare method has signature as public int compare because it returns a integer value. Now why this integer value is, let's say if I have two elements, one is integer I and then we have integer j. If you pass this two element, so when you try to sort it, it will go with some type of sorting techniques in which it will take two elements. Now those two elements will be compared, and depend upon their decisions, it will return either 1, -1, or 0. So by default how it works is it returns 1 if your I value is less than j, it returns -1 if your j value is less than I, and it returns 0 when you have both the values are same. So it returns 1 when you have I less than j, it returns -1 when your I is greater than j, it returns 0 when both are same. Now what we need to do is we need to reverse that thing. So what we can do is we can say first we'll create a variable which is int result, and by default value will be 1, so that we can just return the result. So we'll say return result, okay, and in between we need to check. Now what to check here? So what we'll check is we'll say if my I value is less than j, in this scenario what I will do is I will set the value for result as -1. Now next, if I say if else, in this condition if I is greater than j, so we'll say result equal to 1. And the last scenario else will say result, if both are same, the return value should be 0. So if my I is less than j, it will return a value which is -1. If your I is greater than j, it returns 1. And if you're in other case, the value will be 0. And that other case will be if I and j both are same. Now let's go here, and instead of creating object of comparator, we can create object of sort numbers. So we'll say sort numbers, we'll say sort, or we'll say s equal to new sort numbers, and here we can simply pass object of s. So what we are doing here is when I say pass the object of S, it is indirectly object of comparator, right? So let me run this code. So if I say run as application, so okay, so you can see it is by default printing normal integers, which is ascending order. But what I want now, it should print a descending order. So what we can do is, in this condition, we can return a value which is 1. In this, we can return a value which is -1. And now if I run this, it will reverse the condition and the output is 28, 4 and 2. So if you make this -1 and 1, it will return ascending order. If you change the sequence, it will return descending order. So that's what we wanted, right? In fact, you can have a logic for string also. So that we'll see in the next video.